It's taken a really long time for this case to get to court, but the reality of summonses being served suggests that unlike many other allegedly corrupt leaders worldwide, Jacob Zuma will have his day in court.
Well, that appears to be the case. We don't know whether President Zuma still will try with some or other type of court application beforehand, but I think there's very little time for him to do that. But at the same time, we understand that once he has appeared in court now, that it might take still quite some time before the case really will commence, because a lot of preparation on both sides and a lot of exchanges of legal documents will have to take place. But I think from a symbolic point of view, it is very important that he appears in court and that the process really starts. So it's really a significant situation that we will experience very soon.
What will the effect of the state attorney's deal with Zuma on the funding of his court cases have on the state's corruption case against him?
I don't think that will have any influence on that. That is an agreement that was made already in 2006, and it has been now renewed or still applies to the situation. And I think what the implications will be is that President Zuma won't be able to argue that he won't have proper legal representation. With this agreement, he can choose the best possible advocates and legal team for him to defend him. We also won't be able, therefore, to say that there's some other political campaign or political strategy that's being used against him, that in a sense the dice is loaded against him. But at the same time, on the other hand, once he has been found guilty, or if he's found guilty, then he will have to pay for that. So at this stage, it's in a sense working in both directions. It makes it possible to appear for the current government or the leadership of Cyril Ramaphosa that they are fair towards President Zuma, but at the same time they also address the call by the public in general and the opposition parties that ultimately President Zuma must take responsibility for his actions of the past if he's found guilty.
Of course, the ANC is still using Jacob Zuma in its campaigning for the 2019 elections. How wise is that, given these corruption charges he's facing?
One doesn't know exactly who has taken the initiative in this respect, whether it's the ANC or President Zuma, because he confines himself largely to KwaZulu-Natal during the time, for example, of the voters' registration weekend. We've seen that he has now been, this past weekend, attending the National Executive Committee. So it appears as if he's also using these opportunities in order to try to test to what extent he still has support within the ANC and amongst the constituency of the ANC. Because I think what his long-term approach is, or his plan is that he wants to mobilize as much support as possible, so that when it comes to the court case, that it is not seen as that he has been isolated from the ANC, that he tries to position himself right in the middle of the ANC, which means then therefore also that he can bargain on the support of his former constituency, or still quite a number of supporters. I think the agreement of the NEC this weekend is, however, quite a setback for him, because the agreement, as I understand it, is that the ANC will not support him officially, but that the individual members of the ANC can support him, but then in their individual capacities and not on behalf of any structures of the ANC. So that is certainly for the ANC quite a setback. I think when it comes to the real election campaign, starting maybe at the end of the year, early next year, then President Zuma's role in that will be quite limited, depending obviously on the unfolding situation, whether President Zuma can demonstrate that he has significant support in some provinces, notably KwaZulu-Natal. But otherwise, my expectation is that over time his prominence will decline, especially if the court case is unfolding and if it is negative for him and by implication also for the ANC over time.